So it has never been more hard and tricky to kind of guess who is going to be the main villain of the new MCU Spider-Man 4 movie. Again, a lot of people have had their predictions online. A lot of people have predicted Kingpin would be the main villain, but of course, as we know, Vincent D'Onofrio, the guy who plays Kingpin, confirmed he's not going to be in Spider-Man 4, so that kind of put to bed that rumor. A couple other potential rumors have been put to bed as well, with it being said that this is going to be a brand new character and the role has been offered to a big name actor. So it's really confusing. It's really difficult to know, well, who's going to be the main villain of this new Spider-Man 4 movie. So I thought, you know what? I've got some free time, so I kind of want to predict who I think it might be, while also giving my thoughts and opinions on who I want to be. So I've actually got a list of 5 characters here who I think could very well be, you know, a villain in the movie, a potential main villain, whatever it might be. And I think we're going to be talking about all of this and more right now. Before we do get into it, there's still just a decent amount of you guys who watch these videos who are not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you could do me a massive favor and leave a like on this video, let me know you guys enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel for more Spider-Man news and videos. And I guess we'll get straight into it with the 5th character I think could be the villain of the movie, but also could end up teaming up with Spider-Man later on. And again, I think it's the least likely out of everyone I'm going to talk about, but I still think Tom Hardy's Venom is a slight chance to maybe be in it. Again, there's been rumors for ages he might start off as the villain and end up transitioning, you know, into like the anti-hero, has to team up with Spider-Man in this story. Again, we know that symbiotes are supposed to play a role somewhat in this type of story, whether it's small or big. Again, this may also go against that rumor that a big name actor has been offered the role, but I think that this, if they do go for Tom Hardy's Venom, it doesn't really mean that he's going to be the main villain. He could just be the villain at the start and then, as I said, transition into a different type of role in the movie. The only issue is, and why I think that this probably isn't going to happen, and another reason I wanted to talk about him, is that we know that this Sony Spider-Man universe is completely dead. And from all reports, Marvel have really tried to distance themselves from this really crappy Sony Spider-Man universe that they had going on. And there have also been rumors that Marvel just don't want to include any of these characters in their movie. So with that all being said, and Tom Hardy saying he probably won't be playing Venom again, I do think that that era of movies is completely done, and I just can't see this happening. But I put him on the list just to talk about it, because I think there is still maybe like a 1% chance this happens, and really that 1% chance is still more likely than some of the other villains that I thought about talking about. So again, moving on from him now, we have number 4, and I think that could be Scorpion. Again, this might not necessarily be as the main villain, but he may be a villain in this film. Again, I would think he's probably more suited for Spider-Man 5, which will probably have Kingpin in it, and have Kingpin maybe hiring him to go down and, you know, hunt down Spider-Man. But there is still a chance, with the Scorpion being teased at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, coming through the multiverse, that maybe a different Scorpion from a different universe, of course, does come into it. Again, as I said, it's very big chance, especially when you think of, there's no guarantee even that the actor who played Mac Gargan at the end of Homecoming would even want to come back. After all, it's been like 8 to 9 years, I think, by the time this movie comes out, since he's cameoed as Scorpion. He probably doesn't even want to come back, and he might be doing other shit with his career right now. And having a different Scorpion tease at the end of No Way Home, you know, coming through the multiverse in Doctor Strange's spell, could mean that if this movie is a little bit multiverse themed, we could of course be getting a Scorpion in this film, maybe a different variant from a different universe. Something like that could happen, and that's been, of course, very much teased. Again, another villain I think could 100% be in this, you know, movie, and this is where we're starting to get to the more likely, you know, characters now, especially with how the rumors and leaks are going. And that does happen to be Felicia Hardy, Black Cat, who we know that Spider-Man is going to be getting a new love interest, it's reported in this film, and I just don't see who you can really, pick other than her, because if this is all being said that Peter Parker doesn't want to be Peter Parker anymore and he wants to live that Spider-Man life, kind of the opposite of Spider-Man 2, then there's no better love interest than to introduce the chick who only loves Spider-Man and doesn't care about Peter Parker, and that's what Black Cat is. Again, with rumors and reports that Madeline Klein has been cast in a mysterious role, it does make a lot of sense that it could be Black Cat, and god damn, that would make me freaking dribble out of my mouth. If I saw Madeline Klein as Black Cat, holy shit, I might genuinely explode. And she could legitimately be the big name actor who has been cast as a villain. Again, I wouldn't even be surprised. She's a massive known actor right now, and if one of the main villains of this movie has been cast, who says it couldn't be her? Again, Black Cat is more of an anti-hero, but we know she's stuffed Spider-Man up countless times and in countless different ways. She might do an ultimate betrayal in this film, and I mean, yeah, holy crap, I'd freaking let Madeline Klein betray me, I'll tell you that right now. Again, at number 2 is a lot more far-fetched, and although I think Black Cat is probably the most likely out of every character I've talked about so far being in this movie, I think that there is a slight chance here that this legitimately does happen. With a bunch of leaks and reports that it could be happening, I just felt like I had to talk about it, and that actually does happen to be Norman Osborn. Now, for those of you who are like, what are you talking about? We just saw Norman Osborn in No Way Home as like the main villain. Tom Holland's Peter Parker basically cured him, and we know that should be basically the end of that, right? But we got to think about it. With all the reports that this movie is going to be a massive multiversal film again, I think Marvel are really going to go very in-depth in that. And as I said, if this is multiversal, you're damn well we're going to see a new Norman Osborn. Whether that's him as Green Goblin or it's just Norman Osborn, we'll have to wait and see. And with Coleman Domingo recently playing Norman Osborn in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and actually commenting on the fact that he would love to play a live-action Spider-Man, live-action Green Goblin, I should say, and him getting a lot of positive feedback to that, I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel introduced a Norman Osborn from a different universe who Peter has to, really battle with trusting, because on paper it seems like this Norman Osborn is a good guy, but in reality we know what the Norman Osborn did to his Aunt May. How can he trust him? All of these type of situations. Again, Coleman Domingo, who's done a fantastic job in the cartoon, has been one of the first race swaps I've seen that has actually been a positive reaction by the people in the media and, fans, of course. I think if they wanted to introduce a different multiversal Norman Osborn to really mess with Peter Parker's feelings, it would be a very smart idea, and to have him look and sound very different to Willem Dafoe's Norman Osborn, really differentiating the two. Again, I could see it really happening, and Coleman Domingo would be the perfect choice of that. After all, he is an Oscar-nominated actor who's massive in the world right now, and with him already commenting on it and talking about it, he could be as well the big-name actor that has been, of course, named as that mysterious villain. So, again, I think it'd be really awesome to see a Norman Osborn who is a really good guy, but we know he'll probably become bad later on, but it's really messing with Peter's feelings because he knows what Norman Osborns are capable of. Come into the film again, it'd be a very interesting idea, and I could see them doing it. After all, Norman Osborn is Peter's biggest villain. Again, at number 1, who I want to see is the villain of a Spider-Man movie eventually. I don't know if it will be number 4 or number 5, but that does actually happen to be Mr. Negative. Again, Mr. Negative is probably my all-time favorite Spider-Man villain. I loved him as pretty much the main villain of the first Marvel Spider-Man game. He is absolutely insane, and we know he can cause Spider-Man a ton of problems. After all, he's a legitimate freaking terrorist, and at the start, he seems to be a very good guy to Spider-Man. Again, Peter's aunt, of course, worked for Martin Lee at Feast, and we know Peter's Aunt May works at Feast in the third movie. It'd be really interesting that in this fourth movie, Peter goes to volunteer at Feast, or maybe get a job there doing what his Aunt May did. And of course, he meets, Martin Lee, and he's a very good guy, takes Peter in as like, he's mentoring Peter, just throughout life. But then, of course, he becomes the villainous Mr. Negative. Again, that would be absolutely insane, and I would legitimately love to see that in this movie. But again, with the film going apparently very multiversal, I wouldn't be surprised if they go down the other directions of maybe having, like some symbiotes in it. Of course, maybe having Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn, doing little things like that that would get a fan reaction. Again, that's really what they're making these movies for at this time, man. Look at No Way Home. It's literally a fan service film, and I wouldn't be surprised if Spider-Man 4 even lent that way. So, again, I'm very interested to hear all of your thoughts and opinions down below on my potential takes on villains who could be appearing in this Spider-Man 4 movie. Again, let me know what you guys think your most likely are to least likely villains. Subscribe to the channel for all those Spider-Man news and content as well. Don't forget to check out my sports channel and my RL/long channels, which will be getting linked down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.